What's up, everybody? What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome to episode 48 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast about two brothers who are former WWE employees that happen to like wrestling as the job from previously implies, and video games. Wrestling and the video games. We got a lot of wrestling today, so this is probably going to be a short one because I'm by myself, but also probably not going to be filled with much video game stuff. Going to be mostly wrestling because I've got the greatest Royal Rumble to review along with predictions for Backlash 2018. Yes, I said I am doing this because I am solo this week. DMurph unfortunately had to work some overtime this weekend and was not available, but because we wanted to get the review in and get predictions in for Backlash, we decided that I was going to shoot this solo, and I have notes from DMurph in order to provide his insight into the matches at Greatest Royal Rumble, as well as provide his predictions for Backlash. So, we're going to kick things off right away. Going into the Greatest Royal Rumble, the first match of the night, it was John Cena versus Triple H. Hot opener. Two of the winningest champions in WWE history going one-on-one to start things off. It was just a simple exhibition match. So yeah, I will start things off by reading off DMurph's feedback and then reading my own. He said, Cena versus Triple H, thought it was good, did what it needed to, had a good showing of two veterans having a decent match against each other, and gave Cena a win that he kind of needed after several losses in a row, especially after Mania, which I agree, it was a good way to bounce Cena back after WrestleMania, after doing the nice job for The Undertaker at Mania. I thought it was a really good match. It was really entertaining. They had some really good false finishes. You kind of knew that Cena was going to win because that's what Triple H does. Like, Cena still has stake as a character to grow. Triple H's is just meant to be the evil authority figure who will sometimes win if the story requires him to win. But in the end, he's going to lose, or in standard exhibition matches, he's going to lose to anybody. So, or anybody that he's trying to put over. And John Cena is the one who needed the win more. Triple H, like I said, he doesn't need it. He is going to own the company. He runs NXT. He runs 205 Live. He's the authority figure. He does not need the win. John Cena just came off a loss to The Undertaker after a great story program. I love the story of the program. Not a lot of people liked the match that they had at WrestleMania, but I was a big fan of it. But regardless, he took a big loss character-wise and needed a big win, and he got it at Greatest Royal Rumble. Very good match. It exceeded my expectations because I was like, okay, this is going to be a decent match. It's going to be okay. They're going to do all right. But no, they actually went for it, these two, and they had some really nice false finishes, and it was an entertaining match. Moving on to the second match of the night was the Cruiserweight title match. We had Cedric Alexander versus Kalisto. DMurph says, another match that did what it needed to. Very good with some great spots that gave Cedric a good showing, successfully defending his title and building his status as a new champ. I completely agree with him. It was a very good match. I mean, it's Kalisto and Cedric Alexander. When you put those two in the ring together, they're going to create some pretty fun stuff in the ring. Very entertaining. If I recall correctly, there was also a Cedric also pulled, it was Cedric or Kalisto pulled the Spanish Fly out of nowhere from the second rope, which was really cool, even though kind of scary because I don't think it I think that was the women's. I think I'm also thinking of the Spanish Fly that Charlotte did on Asuka, almost nearly clear, but I remember there was a Spanish Fly in this match. Very entertaining, a lot of fun, two good guys. Cedric needed to win this match because you need to establish him as a champion, build him up after having just won the title at WrestleMania. See where they go with this championship from here. It looks like he's going to end up getting into a rivalry with Buddy Murphy. I'm not sure what they're trying to do with Buddy Murphy with this whole weight thing. I haven't been keeping up with 205 Live news. I don't know if they're going to try and use it to turn him heel, or maybe he's just gonna be a battling adversity face. But I think they're gonna use this to maybe make him bitter, make him a heel, and try to build Cedric Alexander as a face, which is good for now. But I think Cedric eventually at some point could probably use a heel turn since he's really just that squeaky clean babyface, and I don't know if he can really talk on the mic too well as a face. He might need to turn heel and just be able to let loose and have that freedom to let people hate him. Yeah, that was that. The Raw Tag Team title match, the Deleter of Worlds versus The Bar. DMurph says, it's an okay match, nothing that really wowed him. Both very good teams, but seemed like the kind of match you'd catch on Raw. Results not surprising since The Bar got moved to SmackDown. Completely agree with him, 100%. Murphy is already a heel, isn't he? Yeah, I believe he is. I don't know if he is or isn't. Like, he came in, he kicked some ass, and he's supposed to be an ass kicker. I don't know if he's really done anything illegal in his matches to identify him as a heel. But back to the Raw Tag title match. I agree completely 100% with DMurph. It was okay. It was all right. It did what it needed to do, pretty much like the previous two matches. Nothing surprising, nothing really out of the ordinary. And now the Deleter of Worlds, Matt Hardy. I'm sorry. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are now your Raw Tag Team Champions. They can run with this whole interesting gimmick. I will say I do really, really enjoy what we're seeing out of Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. I'm really enjoying the gimmick work. I'm really enjoying the character work. And that's also something that's not all that common in WWE anymore. You don't have a ton of characters. And it's nice to see two guys who are working together who have created just out there characters, and they're just completely 100% in on it, and they're having fun with it, and it's showing. Hopefully their match quality will and match time will improve in addition to the character work. But then again, when your character is this good, do you really need to be throwing out 5-star matches all the time, or even 4.5-star matches? I don't think so. Helps, but I don't think you need it. U.S. title match, we move on to that. Jeff Hardy versus Jinder Mahal. And the first thing that DMurph says, which I completely agree, if you guys were watching my live reactions to Greatest Royal Rumble, you know that I flipped out and went nuts and laughed hysterical when I saw this. That whisper in the wind spot. I don't think Jinder Mahal is going to be getting any prime bookings or a push anytime soon on SmackDown. I don't know what's happened this past Tuesday, but damn, that was awful. For those of you who did not watch the match, Jeff Hardy went up to the corner to the whisper in the wind, and Jinder Mahal was leaning up to or near one of the ropes, and Jeff jumped for the whisper in the wind, and Jinder didn't move into position to get hit or catch him. And so Jeff Hardy landed flat on his back. And instead of, pretending that Jinder's on Raw. Yeah, that's right. Jinder's on Raw now. But instead of, trying to pick up Jeff Hardy or calling something on the fly, like, could have been as simple as, like, him going over to Jeff and saying, roll me up. 1, 2, he kicks out, or you're right back to where you were. No, he decides he's going to bump the whisper in the wind anyway. And as Jeff goes to start getting up, takes a back bump to where he should have taken the whisper in the wind. Double facepalm. Wow. This man was your WWE champion for more than half, for about almost 2/3 of 2017. It's awesome. Now, I may be being a little harsh on Jinder. It was an atrocious botch, but one atrocious botch shouldn't completely ruin a career. We'll see if he can bounce back, but I feel like he should be rightfully punished and not be given a push for a while. And I don't mean a long while, like maybe a couple months. And then build him back up. But I don't know, like when you're in a match, when you're in an event in Saudi Arabia in front of that many eyes on the network, and you do something like that, it's terrible. It's awful. Inexcusable. Anyway, as for the rest of the match, DMurph says, match just showed that Jinder didn't deserve the WWE title run he had, which I pretty much said in a roundabout way just now. He also said that his phone auto-corrected run to ruin instead of run. Yeah. But he was tempted to leave it like that because he ruined the WWE title. He said, another just decent match that could have been on a weekly show. I kind of agree with him there. It was a good match. Wasn't anything great. And the one thing you remember out of that entire match is the horrendous botch. But Jeff Hardy won and retained. SmackDown title match, Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos. It was, again, DMurph says, good match, not great. Usos did a good job. Bludgeon Brothers did pretty good too, but match was too short. They asked, why does the SmackDown tag titles keep having short matches after being the best pay-per-view matches all year? The answer to that is the fact that they're trying to build up the Bludgeon Brothers to be these monsters. And that's pretty much what that SmackDown tag title match did. It did exactly what it needed to do. It was short for a reason because, you know, they needed to show that the Usos, who have been such a dominant tag team for so long, can't hang with these guys, the Bludgeon Brothers. So yeah, it was very fitting. Again, another match, good, not great, did what it needed to do, which is pretty much a summary for the majority of the show as a whole, which I'll get to at the end. The IC title match, however, that was a really awesome match. Rollins versus Balor versus Miz versus Joe. And props to Miz. Miz did some really good work in this match and really acted as a solid glue. Cam, you say that the Bludgeon Brothers are killing the SmackDown tag titles. I don't know. We're still in the process of pushing them. So it all depends on who rises to the occasion and takes the titles off of them. And when somebody proves to actually be that challenger, that worthy challenger to them, how those matches pan out. Like, I don't think we can judge this until we see teams rise to the occasion to meet the Bludgeon Brothers. Because right now, this is part of the build of the Bludgeon Brothers. You build them up so that way a team can, you know, match them and take them on and challenge them and eventually maybe take the titles off of them. But we'll see because, you know, as we'll get to later with Brock Lesnar, that's what they were doing with Brock Lesnar, and they still haven't pulled the goddamn trigger on him 4 years later. So we'll see. Anyway, back to the IC title match. DMurph says, it's a very good match with a very strong showing from everyone involved, especially Finn Balor. Great use of the ladders, good smart spots, great end to the match with Balor fighting to take everyone out. Only have Rollins leap in from out of nowhere and steal and retain and win the title. He loved it. I loved it too. I thought that was one of the greatest endings and finishes to a ladder match ever. Because for years I have watched ladder matches and I've always thought, you know, these guys take so long. Wouldn't it be great if, you know, somebody just ran up and yanked the title right away from him so fast that the person didn't know what was happening and it would slip right out of their fingers. I loved it. I thought it was a great finish. You don't see that. I don't know if we've seen that ever. The closest I think we've ever come to is Jericho Michaels when they both had a hand on the championship in 2008, I believe that was, in their ladder match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and they were both like doing a tug of war with the belt as it was hanging from the rung, each held either side. Jericho headbutts Michaels falls, Jericho wins. That's the only thing that I can recall that was ever close to that, and it was awesome. It was great. I loved it. I thought the finish was awesome. Again, like DMurph said, really very good match, very solid match. Everybody shined. Nobody really looked bad in this match. Right guy won. And we move on. And there was the segment with the Saudi nationals, the trainees. The Saudi trainees who got signed to WWE contracts to basically become tryouts, to go to the Performance Center, try out. I liked all the guys. It's cool to see some Saudi Middle Eastern superstars get brought in. Hopefully, they can be entertaining. They can put on good matches. I'm sorry. I did not get much sleep last night, or the night before. But anyway, hopefully they will turn into some solid projects in NXT, and at least one of them will make it into NXT and onto the main roster. The Daivaris came out, and that was some dicey stuff because they said things, and they said things as Iranians, which the Saudis don't get along with, and the Daivaris were legitimately getting death threats, which is not good, not cool. Lost my train of thought. So yeah, the Daivaris came out, said some things. Which, I mean, standard wrestling, it's a good way to get standard heel heat. They just said stuff, and people in the, I guess, some Saudis didn't realize wrestling isn't real, and they didn't really mean what they said, and starts, like, just lashing out at WWE and lashing out, sending death threats to the Daivaris. But anyway, the Daivaris came out, they got beat up by the Saudis, so they got their comeuppance. I thought, with exception to what they said, that apparently pissed off a lot of people, which it was a good segment. It did what it needed to do. Then we move on to the WWE title match, Styles versus Nakamura. It was a good match. DMurph says, I love heel Shinsuke. Did a lot of good work with the knees to AJ and then the calf crusher, making that more difficult for Nakamura. I think he meant AJ did a lot of good work to the knees with Nakamura, and then using the calf crusher to make it more difficult on Nakamura to hit the Kinshasa. Finish allowed AJ to hold the title and further the storyline, hopefully letting Nakamura take the title in a fight, not just a match. Yeah, I agree. Very good match. I was perfectly fine with the way that it ended. Continues the story. It's the only way to continue the story while keeping the championship on AJ Styles, I believe. Because when there is a definitive decision, I feel like Nakamura has to win. So hopefully Nakamura does win. Unless they're grooming Joe to be a heel after Nakamura doesn't win. But I feel like Nakamura has to win. Then AJ comes in. Then maybe you throw Joe in for a triple threat match. Then have AJ eventually win it back. But yeah, good match. Again, did what it needed to do. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm saying it over and over again. Did what it needed to do. Cam says, I think WWE thought the Daivari stuff would be like the foreign heel stuff, but the situation over there is so dicey and current, it's not a good idea. Yeah, I agree with you. They experimented and it backfired. And I'm sure they won't do it again. You're not wanting Nakamura to win anymore. You don't think he will? Why not, Cam? Why don't you think he'll win? I think he'll win. I think his gimmick, dick punching Nakamura, or Dick Nakamura, the dick puncher, is an amazing gimmick. I love it. He is such an a-hole. I love it. I think he deserves the championship for the gimmick work he's doing since he turned heel. I love it. While I wait for Cam to respond, I'm going to move on to the casket match, Undertaker versus Rusev. Not surprising, Undertaker won, but it was good to see, DMurph says, not surprising, but glad to see Rusev got in some offense in the match. Other than that, it was all right. I think it was a good match. Again, it did the job. Did what it needed to do. They got to see Undertaker. They got to see Undertaker win. It was nice that Undertaker also put Aiden English into the casket. And, Rusev didn't get destroyed, absolutely destroyed like Cena did at WrestleMania. So that's good. That's actually really good for Rusev's personality, Rusev's character. Rusev helps Rusev push. He gets the nice rub from Undertaker. He lasted longer than Cena. Got some offense in. Didn't get absolutely destroyed like Cena did. In the end, he lost, but it's the Undertaker. I feel like you really can't complain about this match. I feel like it helps Rusev's career, helps Rusev going forward, and it gives all the fans an Undertaker match when Undertaker wins. Back to Cam. Cam says, I think Joe will win off AJ, not Nakamura. He is doing a good gimmick stuff, doing good gimmick stuff, but isn't delivering in the ring for me and hasn't really since his first few NXT matches. I think he's doing fine in the ring. I would disagree with that. He's not doing as well as he was in his first few NXT matches, but I think that's more the WWE wrestling system. The way that the style of wrestling that NXT does, the style of wrestling WWE main roster does, is so different. Nakamura also needs to be given that true chance. I don't know if he's been given that true chance in the main roster. I think Joe is definitely going to get involved in the WWE title picture. And he will eventually win it off of AJ or just win it off of Nakamura. But I'm seeing this after Backlash with the way that Joe's been going since he came back. And the way that Nakamura and AJ have been going. I see this as a 3-man rivalry. I think this could evolve into a 3-man rivalry that might go until SummerSlam, where the three of them might be exchanging the championships off of one another. So we'll see. It's an interesting situation on SmackDown, but it's exciting because there's 3 guys and you don't know who's going to win the championship, and 3 guys are involved. Plus you've got this guy called Daniel Bryan who's also waiting in the wings. Who knows if they'll ever pull the trigger and give him a championship match again, D-Bry, but I am certain that they will put him in championship matches again. Um, anyway, moving on, we've got the Universal Championship cage match, which I thought it was a good match. Very, very far and away improved from their match at the Rumble. Or not the Rumble, at Mania. Which I thought was atrocious. I feel like this match was closer to their WrestleMania 31 match. Though I still think their WrestleMania 31 match, despite Seth Rollins cashing in at the end, and that has nothing to do with what I'm saying about this match. I think the match leading up to that point, I still think that is the best match that those two have had together. But this was a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, Reigns did not win, though. Lesnar, quote-unquote, won, even though Reigns, by rules, won the match. DMurph's input, he says, much better match than their match at Mania, which kind of pissed me off. Because, it's the Mania match. The Mania match should be the better match. Initially hated, that's my input on what he's saying. That was a little sidebar by me, just accentuating, clarifying what he was saying. Back to him, he said, initially hated the end, but after thinking about it, I came around and really liked it. Reigns' feet hit the floor, so by rules of the match, he should have won. And with the way it ended, it gives Reigns an excuse to challenge for the title again and give Lesnar a reason to be afraid of that rematch. I kind of agree. I kind of wish they just pulled the trigger on Reigns and we'd be done with the whole Lesnar thing. But, again, Reigns has a ground to stand on to actually win the championship, be that at Money in the Bank, which I believe is when the next pay-per-view Lesnar is set to appear at, or at SummerSlam. I want Reigns to just win and take it all. I'm done. I gotta admit, I'm done with Brock Lesnar. I'm done with the Brock Lesnar character. I'm just not entertained by it anymore. I just want him to not have the Universal Championship anymore. I want Reigns to win, and if Lesnar does show up, he does like marquee matches against big guys. I don't want him involved in major storylines anymore. I feel like WWE has let this go on too long. It's run its course, and I don't care that he beat Undertaker. Like, the whole aura of Lesnar has gone from like legit be afraid of him, he's a badass, to almost like what's the word that I'm looking for? Not cheesy. It might be cheesy. Maybe campy. Like superhero villain. Like, he's just a big guy that just shrugs everything off and just hits you with a couple big things and then pins you. Like, there's no depth behind it. There's no entertainment beyond his matches. Like, you know what he's going to do. I don't know. It's gone stale. It's gone stale. They've kept this on for far too long. I think there were times where I thought he should have lost to Strowman or Joe. But I knew they were gonna do it against Reigns, and I think they should have pulled the trigger on Reigns at Mania. If they pulled I think Lesnar was starting to get old, but if they pulled the trigger on Reigns at Mania, or even last night, it would have been perfect timing. I feel like now they're just delaying it, either to see if they can get Reigns over, more so, or that's A. B, they're done with trying to push Reigns. They want Strowman to eventually win, which then I don't think they would have had the cage match have the ending that it had. Or C, they're just swerving for the sake of swerving and trying to keep fans on their toes. In which case, the ulterior motive might be people get so sick of seeing Lesnar with the championship that when Reigns finally wins, they actually cheer, which I don't think will happen. I think more people will want him to win and be like, thank God it's over. But I don't know if that's the way you want Roman to win. And I don't think an entire crowd is going to cheer him winning. I don't know. They'll still, I think, boo him, which I don't think is fair, but I think that it's going to happen still. So I'm going to get back to Cam, who's in chat, get his input. He's hoping after Daniel Bryan goes for the U.S. title against Jeff. That could be very entertaining. I could be very down for that. You also think that the issue is Lesnar. With Lesnar is he's not really a heel and he's not a face either. And him not being around makes you forget he's there. Yeah, exactly. The part-timer thing does hurt. If he wasn't with Heyman, then he wouldn't be worth anything. Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment. Because Heyman shows up more often than Brock to remind you that Brock is a thing. and he does pretty much all of Brock's talking unless it's a pre-tape promo. So I agree with you. Yeah. So again, in summary, Universal title match, the cage match, good match, better than the in their match at Mania, which is upsetting. The finish means that we're probably gonna get Reigns versus Lesnar again, which I guess sure, but it was a good match. So now on to the final match, the main event, the 50-man Royal Rumble match, which I thought was probably the best match of the night. I actually really, really liked it. I really had a lot of fun with this. There were a lot of good moments, a lot of good stuff. We'll get to Titus in a second. Let me get DMurph's thoughts in on this real quick first. DMurph says, enjoyed the match. Other than some slow spots, I thought it was very good. Hornswoggle was a great surprise, which I kind of eye-rolled at it, but I guess it was all right. Titus slid into the history books, which, oh my God, was hilarious. I personally, when I missed it when it first happened, I heard the commentators laughing. I was like, what happened? I looked and I saw the replay. I was like, oh my God. Oh, so meme-worthy. Probably the best, actually, like, honestly, it might be, like, the best thing that happened to Titus, because now Titus can build a character off of that, and he's made merch off of it, and it's become a meme. So that's actually, it might have been really, really embarrassing at the time, but honestly, it's probably one of the best things to happen to Titus ever. DMurph says that he loved that D-Bar was the first person to enter and the 48th person eliminated, and that it was by his current rival, Big Cass. He loves Strowman winning, definitely deserved, and excited to see where they take it from here. Also, lots of random ass people that I don't care for were in the match, he said. Cam says Hornswoggle was screwed. He was never eliminated. He deserves a match against Braun. Yeah, I remember hearing. I didn't catch it when I saw it, but I heard people saying that apparently he only went over the second rope. So, oh well. Hornswoggle versus Braun Strowman. Book it. I really liked the match too. As I've said before, the Titus thing was hilarious. I also believe that Braun Strowman deserved it. Good big win for him to help build him up, even though he was given a trophy and a championship that we will never see again. I also loved the way Daniel Bryan was treated. They put him in first. He now has the record for the longest survival at any Royal Rumble period. Although granted it was a 50-man Royal Rumble, but still it is a record. I loved that he was the Iron Man of the match, went from first to second to last eliminated. And honestly, that's the perfect way you book Daniel Bryan. If you're not going to have Daniel Bryan win, I feel like you can't even have Strowman eliminate him, because that will get Strowman the kind of heat you don't want. So he can't be the last eliminated. So you make him the second to last eliminated. You have him be eliminated by Cass, which people are supposed to boo anyway. Fits perfectly with the storyline. Builds Bryan the way it needs to. You don't give Bryan the win. You give it to Strowman, who needs it. I thought that was perfect booking. And aside from that, the match itself was very entertaining. Very, very interesting. I liked, I believe Kofi's attempt to avoid elimination was being on him and Woods being on each other's shoulders on the apron. So that was a thing. That was entertaining. That was interesting. But yeah, that was all the standout stuff that I remember from the 50-man Royal Rumble match. Yeah, very good. Very good match. So that was Greatest Royal Rumble. In summary, again, I thought it was a good show. It kind of was, when you look at the results, a glorified house show, because none of the titles changed. None of the storylines really advanced that much. You got a big progression for Lesnar Reigns. You got Cass and D-Bry advancing, and you had the Bludgeon Brothers get built up still. And you got I guess you actually did have a lot here. You had Rollins and Balor's rivalry reach a new level, with Balor being literally fingertips from getting the title when Rollins stole it right out from under him. The Leader of Worlds won their first titles. So yeah, pretty much a good show. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Not a ton of it was amazing, but I would say standouts was the IC title ladder match, the Universal title cage match, and the 50-man Royal Rumble. Those were probably the best 3 matches of the night, but everything was pretty good, pretty solid, strong, good show. I don't know if it was better than Mania, even though Lesnar versus Reigns was better than Mania, but I mean, it's Mania. So, yeah, fun, good stuff. If you have not caught it on the network, I know it's 5 hours long, but I definitely recommend that you give it a look for at least a few of the matches, at least to see that botch by Jinder. Watch the Greatest Royal Rumble match for sure. Catch that cage match. I would like, if I was gonna pick and choose matches for you guys to watch, I would say, watch Cena versus Triple H. The Cruiserweight title match was good. I would say watch that. You don't need to really watch the Leader of Worlds versus the Bar, because all you got to know is that the Leaders of World won. You don't have to watch the U.S. title match. You don't really have to watch SmackDown tag title match. So I'd say Cena versus Triple H, IC title match, WWE title match, casket match, Universal title match, 50-man Royal Rumble. So you can eliminate, and the Cruiserweight title too, I guess. So you eliminate 3 matches, and that takes about an hour off. It's about a 4-hour show. So there you go. Ham says, I'm starting to think Braun might actually be the one who is going to beat Brock because he's fully faced now. That's what a lot of people are thinking. Some people are thinking that Roman's push is done and Braun's going to be the one to finally win. So we'll see what happens. We will indeed see. Cam, did you see the video of Matt and Jeff backstage where Jeff congratulates Matt on the tag title win and Matt says he wins them every April? I did not. I'm going to have to watch that. I don't get the joke though. Does Matt historically win all of his tag titles in April? Because if so, that's funny. Anyway, so that's it for our review. However, predictions time. Based on the predictions, DMurph ran away with it because I had to pick contrary to him. So he is still your champion. He's still holding on to that championship over my left shoulder. And we did, for the first time, the Super Grapple Bros viewer predictions. And if I remember correctly, I did not write this down, which was foolish of me. But if I recall correctly, Big Stupid 21, Big Stupid, one of our mods, he was the viewer winner. He had the most correct predictions. He had more than me. He beat me, but he did not beat DMurph. And I will also give a shout out. We give a shout out to the winner, who out of all the viewers, and then I'm just gonna give a shout out also to Cam, just because he tied me. If anybody ties or beats us, we're debating on doing shout outs, so we're gonna do it for now until it becomes maybe too cumbersome. So shout out to Cameron GP2, Cam, one of our other mods, for tying me, and also, of course, props to Big Stupid 21, Big Stupid, our mod here, for beating me, having the most viewer predictions. We will be doing this again on for Backlash, which we are getting into right now. We will transition into Backlash and do our predictions. We're just going to do straight predictions here. Well, DMurph's is straight predictions. He just gave the winners. He did not go in with insight, so I'll provide my insight. So we're going to start things off with the U.S. title match of Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. DMurph has Jeff Hardy winning, and I've got to agree. Randy's already gotten his U.S. title match. He's already had his U.S. title reign. I don't think he really needs another. It's going to be a good match. I think this U.S. title reign helps build Jeff Hardy up to hopefully enter into the main event eventually and become another single star. So I feel like Jeff needs to hold this for a little bit longer. So I agree with him. So we both have Hardy. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. DMurph picks Strowman and Lashley, and I kind of have to agree. As much as I want to go with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Strowman is white hot right now, and they really want to try and elevate Bobby Lashley since he came back, because he's kind of come in with a thud so far. So this can help build Bobby Lashley and makes Braun look strong. So I agree with that. So we both have Strowman and Lashley. Next up is D-Bry versus Big Cass. DMurph has Daniel Bryan. I'm going to go... It's interesting. I want to go with Big Cass. But I think if Big Cass is going to look strong here, he might go over via countout or disqualification. So I don't know. Because I feel like this rivalry is not just going to go 1 month. This isn't the end. So I don't know if D-Bry can beat Big Cass clean. So if he wins, it might be a disqualification. So I don't know. Like my brain is telling me Big Cass somehow, but I don't know how, because there's no way Big Cass pins Daniel Bryan clean. But Big Cass's character has also not been one to do dirty stuff to get a unclean win. And so if he's going to do anything, he's just going to beat the hell out of D. Bryan to a no contest or a disqualification, in which case Daniel Bryan wins. But I also want to pick contradictory to DMurph. Which sucks because all of his picks are pretty much going to be the same as mine. Let me look down the line. I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan as well. I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan. I've got a couple different picks from him. Then we get the SmackDown Women's title match, Carmella versus Charlotte Flair. DMurph has Carmella, and I agree. There are rumors that Absolution is going to, now that Paige has kind of said like, oh, we're done, we're broken up. I think the other two members of Absolution are going to align themselves with Carmella. You give Carmella some muscle to hide behind. They will help win her the match against Charlotte Flair and retain. And I feel like it's too soon for Carmella to lose. I don't think Carmella loses right away. So, boom. Right there. There you go. We both have Carmella. Cam says, I think this is the end of Big Cass versus Bryan and transition to Miz since Bryan and Miz are doing house shows this month. Okay. That could be it. Anyway. So we both have Carmella. Raw Women's title match. Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. DMurph has Nia Jax, and again, I have to agree and make the same pick as him, because I don't think Nia is going to lose this. I think Nia is going to hold the championship for a while, and I don't think it's going to be Alexa who takes the championship off of her. Maybe Sasha, maybe Bayley, maybe you keep it on Nia until she turns heel, but I don't think she's going to drop it so soon after winning it off of Alexa, especially with the bully angle that they ran at Mania, so I think Nia is going to retain. DMurph thinks the same. Intercontinental Championship match. Seth Rollins versus The Miz. Seth Rollins is going to win. There's no way The Miz is going to win and then go over to Raw. So we both pick Seth Rollins. That's obvious. No DQ match for the WWE Championship. DMurph is picking Shinsuke Nakamura. And my mind says Shinsuke Nakamura. Now this is the thing. I also, even though I was saying before that AJ Styles should lose this match, I also am starting to believe that they may not pull the trigger on Nakamura. And that they may have AJ versus Joe next. So, I don't know. Because the big thing here is it's no DQ. It's a no disqualification match. So, this is probably the end of the rivalry. If AJ wins. If Shinsuke wins, this rivalry still has legs. And you can incorporate Joe. If AJ wins, you go right to Joe. But then what does Shinsuke do? If Daniel Bryan's moving on to Miz, you can't have Shinsuke Daniel Bryan. You can't have Shinsuke versus Andrade Cien Almas because Andrade's a heel. Unless you want to have Shinsuke go against Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship, but then that's kind of a step down for Shinsuke. So it's very interesting. I think we'll only differ on one match. I think I'm going to let this hinge on one match. So I'm going to, even though I was thinking about picking AJ Styles here, I'm going to have to agree with DMurph, and I'm going to go with Shinsuke. However, I'm going to differ on him in the main event. The main event is Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. DMurph has Roman, and I was initially going to pick Roman, but I'm picking Joe because I think Joe is going to get pushed up to the main roster, or get pushed up to the main event and challenge for the championship. In order to make him look strong, you have him beat Roman. I'm probably wrong on this because you gotta give Roman a win after he's just lost twice to Brock. But I could totally see Joe winning in some roundabout, maybe not clean way. So I'm going to pick Joe. And you know what? I'm changing my prediction before we finalize it. I'm going to double down. I will go with AJ winning. I will double down on the Joe versus AJ angle. I will have AJ Styles winning the WWE title match. and Samoa Joe winning the main event. Partially for entertainment's sake. Or do I want to? Do I? I've got to make a final decision here. Because I can have it all hinge on one match. But then if I get one match wrong and I pick two, and I get one right, I could get one wrong and then it could be over. And then we're tied. This is where things get tough as the challenger in our system. Because if you guys don't know, the way that our title thing runs is champion gets picked first and champion also wins via tie. So I can diversify and have two places where I could potentially win, or one. Yeah, no, I think I'm going to stick with my predictions. Shinsuke wins my original predictions. Shinsuke wins the WWE title. Samoa Joe beats Roman, potentially in an unclean way. Gives Samoa Joe an extra reason to say to AJ that he deserves the shot. He's the one who needs to win the WWE title. Gets him involved. Then we go with the triple threat. We go with the triple threat stuff. So our predictions are exactly the same for every match except for the main event. So Jeff Hardy, as a recap, Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. We both have Hardy. Strowman and Lashley versus Owens and Zayn. We both have Strowman and Lashley. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. We both have Bryan. Carmella versus Charlotte Flair. We both have Carmella. Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. We both have Nia. Seth Rollins versus The Miz. We both have Seth Rollins. AJ versus Shinsuke. We both have Shinsuke. And then Roman versus Samoa Joe. DMurph has Roman. I have Samoa Joe. So basically this is all hinging on the main event. Hopefully the next pay-per-view will have more matches where we're like, we don't know what's going to happen. One person could win or another. But yeah, those are the predictions. So yeah, that'll do it for wrestling. And I don't have much in the way of video game news, but we will do some video game news. Season 4 of Fortnite has dropped. The meteor has landed, has crashed into the map. Did not hit Tilted Towers as people thought. It hit into Dusty Depot, created a nice crater there. There's a couple other small craters, and there are these rocks that grant you like extra, like grants you less gravity for a little bit longer time. There are also other changes to the map. For example, the movie theater is the outside like drive-in movie theater was smashed. There is now a film studio with green screens in Moisty Mire. There is a mountain like lair, like almost an evil super villain lair with a rocket silo. There is a superhero underground lair. There is a scientific like underground like base with like computers and whatnot under a house in Salty Springs. So very interested to see where this goes. There are superhero outfits for skins with the battle pass. The carbide one, which you get from the beginning, and the Omega, which you get at the 100 tier, upgrade over time. I don't know how the Omega one works, but it might be part of the challenge book, but the carbide one, you just have to level up. If you get to level 65, you max out the carbide. So that's how you do that. So very cool stuff. You also have, a lot of people are saying that this is superhero theme, but you also got special forces people as skins and other stuff. So it might just be that this is movie themed, that season 4 is movie themed, which kind of fits because season 4 is in the summer season and summer is blockbuster movie season. So it fits perfectly well. Let me see other stuff. From what I'm playing, MLB The Show 18 came out and with their new updates. So the Justin Verlander card, Justin Verlander went diamond. Not a ton of, a couple guys went gold. Shohei Ohtani went up, but did not go to a gold card from a silver card. And there is also a new season, new rank season, new event. The new event has a diamond Wade Boggs. The new season has a diamond Darren Erstad, and there's also the monthly the monthly awards program that got introduced for a Didi Gregorius card because Didi Gregorius played really well in the first month, so he is a 91 diamond. But you have to get all the other April monthly awards cards and do missions with them to complete it, which is tough because MLB The Show only had a limited supply of packs for the monthly awards, and each person can only get 5. And you weren't guaranteed to get the rarest ones. You could get duplicates. Just because there were 5 cards didn't mean you were going to get all 5 cards. It was like an actual pack pull. And 2 of them are going for over 50K. One's going for around 90 to 100K. One's going between 50 and 60K stubs. So it's going to be tough to try and complete it. And one's also in the ticket counter. But if you do, you get a cool DD Gregorius card. Looking into the Overwatch League, I'm going to go into the results of this week, and last week as well. Which was, oh wow, we're not in stage 3 week 1. Why are you showing me that match schedule? We are in, we're actually at the end of stage 3 now. We've reached the end of stage 3. So tomorrow is going to see the stage 3 title matches for a prize pool of $125,000. So let's take a look at the standings actually before I take a look at the past couple. No, we'll take a look at the past couple weeks results and then look at the standings. So last week in stage 3, we had Boston Uprising beating Shanghai Dragons, Houston Outlaws beating the Valiant, both matches 3-1. Florida Mayhem beating the Dallas Fuel. Whoa, Dallas Fuel is on a downfall. I believe one of the Dallas Fuel players also got kicked out recently. So Dallas Fuel, full of controversy. They got 3-1 against Florida Mayhem. Then we had the Los Angeles Gladiators actually beat the London Spitfire 3-2. New York Excelsior beat the San Francisco Shock 3-1. Seoul Dynasty just edged out Philadelphia Fusion 3-2. Then Uprising 4-0'd the Dallas Fuel. The Gladiators beat the Outlaws 3-2 in a close one. The Los Angeles Valiant beat the Florida Mayhem 3-1. Then London 4-0'd San Francisco Shock. And you want to talk about shock? This is a shocker. New York Excelsior, they look like the team that cannot be stopped right now because they 4-0'd Seoul Dynasty last week. And then Philadelphia Fusion almost got upset by the Shanghai Dragons, but edged them out 3-2. This week, so far, on Wednesday, Philadelphia Fusion 3-1 Dallas Fuel. Gladiators 3-0 Florida Mayhem. San Francisco Shock had a shocking upset against the Houston Outlaws, winning that match 3-2. San Francisco's rewind that back. San Francisco Shock 4-0'd the Florida Mayhem. Boston Uprising 3-2 to Los Angeles Valiant. New York Excelsior, as kind of expected, given to where each team is at, 4-0 Dallas Fuel. Then the Uprising beat the Gladiators 3-1. New York Excelsior beat the Shanghai Dragons 3-1. And London Spitfire edged out Seoul Dynasty 3-2. Today, London Spitfire plays their second match of the week against Shanghai Dragons. Seoul, their second against the Houston Outlaws. And the Valiant versus the Fusion. So, I mean, Spitfire versus Dragons should go Spitfire's way. But Seoul and Houston, Seoul should win. Outlaws could upset them, though. And Valiant and Fusion could go either way. That'll be very entertaining. So as we look into the stages, the stage title matches, let's see the standings to see who has a shot, who made the stage playoffs. The playoffs are actually already cut. Boston Uprising, actually, this stage, they are undefeated and in first place. So the Boston Uprising, surprisingly, in first place right now. That's a shock. I didn't know that they were doing so well in stage 3. New York Excelsior, they're in second with a 9-1. 9-1 record. They are just one game behind Boston Uprising. That's not going to change. They've played all 10 matches this stage. The New York Excelsior, though, does have a higher differential. Los Angeles Valiant made it in, and the Los Angeles Gladiators made it in at 6-3 and 6-4 respectively. So if the Valiant win, they will have a firm. Valiant are going to take third no matter what because they have the higher differential, which is a tiebreaker. But the two Los Angeles teams made it in. Seoul did not have a good season, actually. They went 4-5. They're sitting in 9th. But as you look down, San Francisco Shock just got edged out based on differential to the Gladiators and the Valiant. They were also 6-4. Philadelphia Fusion, they're going to get edged out as well unless they 4-0. Unless they can 4-0 the Valiant. Because if they can 4-0 the Valiant, they will get to a 6 differential and make 6-4. And might own other, maybe have another tiebreaker against the Gladiators, so maybe the Fusion can get in. I don't think so. I don't know. London Spitfire, they went 4-5. Houston Outlaws went 4-5. and Seoul went 4-5. So those 3 teams are trying to break 500 on the stage, which that's shocking to me. Florida Mayhem has 2 wins. They're 2-8 and 10th. Dallas Fuel only had 1 win this stage. They're 1-9 and 11th. And Shanghai Dragons without a win yet. They are in 12th. And then if we look at the league overall, the overall league standings, New York Excelsior still in first with 27-3. Boston Uprising trying to catch up to them, but New York has got a big lead. They've got a 5-match lead over Boston Uprising, who is in second. They're at 22-8. London Spitfire, they are in third at 19-10. Seoul, fourth at 18-11. The Philadelphia Fusion, tied, but down with the tiebreaker to Seoul, and fifth at 18-11 as well. Los Angeles Valiant in sixth with 17-12. Houston Outlaws in seventh at 16-13. Los Angeles Gladiators at 16-14 are in eighth. San Francisco Shock in ninth at 12-18. Dallas Fuel in 10th at 6-24. Florida Mayhem also at 6-4 in 11th, and the Shanghai Dragons still winless at 0-29. So that is the Overwatch League breakdown for you guys. No weekly Overwatch news, as DMurph is not here and he did not provide me with any Overwatch news, and he did not search it out. Only other stuff that I got to discuss in the video game world is God of War came out. It got a ton of reviews. People are raving about it. People are calling it Game of the Year. People are saying that it is one of the best single-player games of all time. I have not picked it up yet. It is on my list of things that I would like to play eventually on my live stream. I just want to give it time. So if you have not picked up God of War and you like video games, and especially like story-based video games, go pick it up. Also, we got a trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2 that had John Marston in it. So we do know for a fact, confirmed, John Marston is in it. So will be Bill Williams, who was in the first Red Dead Redemption, because they were both part of Dutch's gang. We assumed that John Marston was going to be in it, but I don't believe we had seen him in a previous trailer. But we do see him in a couple of group shots, and there's one shot where his facial scars are pretty new, freshly stitched up, the ones that we know from from Red Dead Redemption. And we see him being held up by what appears to be lawmen. And Dutch and the character you play as, I cannot recall his name, I apologize, are in a building, and they're not sure whether or not they should save John. Dutch doesn't seem to care. The main character is kind of conflicted. We also see the villain, I can't remember his name, but he was I think he was an FBI or member of he was a government agent. I think he was an FBI agent in Red Dead Redemption. He is also coming back. It looks like he's like a local law enforcement, maybe like a sheriff or whatnot, because if I recall, at this point in the timeline of U.S. history, or this point of U.S. history, the FBI and the federal agents had not yet been formed. They had by the time of Red Dead Redemption. So it'll be interesting to see if we have a reason as to why he is why has it out for Dutch's gang so bad in Red Dead Redemption, and why he's such a dick to John Marston in Red Dead Redemption in the end, and screws him over in the end. So yeah, a lot of good information. It was all in-game footage, and some of the stuff happening was in the in-game engine, so it's very entertaining. I am excited. I cannot wait. I loved Red Dead Redemption. It is one of my favorite games of all time. I cannot wait to get my hands on Red Dead Redemption 2, and I believe we got a release date. I'm just going to double check it. I know it's October. I think October 21st is coming into my head, but it might be October 6th. So let me just double check that. Yes, October 26th. So I was close. I thought October 6th and October 21st was October 26th, 2018. That is its release date now. So we officially have a release date for Red Dead Redemption 2. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me on the podcast today. That's going to do it for episode 48. And hey, I got some video game news in there as well. We got to talk some video games for a little while. Got in some predictions and a review. Lots of stuff covered in this episode of the podcast. Thanks to everybody who came in. Thanks again to everybody who submitted their predictions for Greatest Royal Rumble. Do not forget, you can include your predictions for Backlash in the Super Grapple Bros Viewer Predictions channel in my Discord server, which you can click on in the descriptions. It should be in the show notes now, and the audio version should be in the description on YouTube, and should be on my channel page. It's one of my channel panels for Twitch. So be sure you go and do that to get your predictions in. You guys have until I give people until the bell of the first to start the first match of the show is rung. So you have until that first match starts for Backlash to get your predictions in. Again, winner gets a shout out on the podcast on the review episode. We will also potentially give you a shout out if you beat either myself or DMurph on the predictions front. And we are also toying with the idea of potentially doing some sort of prize or giveaway for the winner when the year is over, when we get to WrestleMania next year. So we're entertaining that. We'll see. So make sure you get your predictions in, everybody. Do not forget that you can catch us live on Twitch. Every single episode is live on Twitch. We normally stream on Fridays or Saturdays. You can find that at twitch.tv/L_Murpho. You can also catch the previous podcast on VOD there. And you can find us also on VOD on YouTube at youtube.com/LMurphoReal. Do not forget to like. Got a piece of hair on my tongue. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment as well. Let us know what you think. You can catch us in audio form on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and lots of other places where podcasts can be found. Just search Super Grappling Bros. Do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe, especially on iTunes. It's very important. If we get enough reviews and ratings, we will be an officially rated podcast on iTunes, which means more people will be able to see us. We'll actually show up in searches and stuff like that. More people can find us and talk wrestling with all of us. So it helps all of us. So please rate, review, and subscribe to the audio version. Also, you can find the Discord server, as I mentioned. I already told you all to do that. Should be in the show notes, description, and channel page, depending on where you go. You can also email us. You can also submit any topics, conversation, questions, concerns, all that on the Discord server as well. There's a channel for that. If you don't want to do that via the Discord server, you can email us at supergrapplingbros@gmail.com. Topics, feedback, questions, tidbits. If there's anything maybe we forgot and you want to send us a correction, let us know. Email us. We want to hear back from you. We want feedback. Feedback is very much welcome. And you can also catch me on Twitter at L_Murpho. DMurph is DMurph_42. We try to tweet whenever we go live. So on Twitch, so make sure you follow us there to find out when we'll be podcasting. We try to tweet when we know when a show is going to happen there and on the Discord. And I like to let people know on Discord and on Twitter when we go live. So that is pretty much it for the episode, for episode 48 of the Super Grappling Bros podcast. I am just going to go ahead and close this out with the kayfabe news article of the week, which is breaking news. Men are not allowed to compete at the upcoming Greatest Survivor Series in Themyscira. They don't like men there. They do not. Only Diana is the only one who's willing to even acknowledge a man there, really. Or have a man stay there or hang out with a man. So, now it's on the other coin. Or now the coin's on the other side. That works. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Take care. And until we see you again or talk to you again, peace, deuces, the deucey deuce. Bye.
Shut up and sit down.